Last night, you had a chance, my friend, to go and watch a movie I know you've been very excited about, Avatar Fire and Ash. We don't want you to give away any spoilers or anything, but give us your thoughts. What did you think of Avatar Fire and Ash now that you've seen it?
Well, first of all, I've got to preface this by saying I loved the first Avatar. I think as far as a fantasy film, science fiction film, and in terms of its realization and what it was trying to do, A plus. And I thought Way of Water, which Way of Water is really the first part of Fire and Ash. They're basically one movie, and it was too much movie, so they cut it in half. And I would suggest everybody go see or familiarize themselves with Way of Water, because Fire and Ash takes place really right after that movie is over, and there's a lot of things that happen. But long story short, I thought this film was yet another stunning achievement in the Avatar series. In a way, if this means anything, I think it's the Rocky 3 of Avatar movies, if that makes any sense. But I loved it. And I saw it in high frame rate and 3D at the Directors Guild of America. I can't imagine a better presentation of this film. It did not feel like 3 hours and 15 minutes. I was locked in from the opening. It explores more of the world of Pandora, and it has some really interesting, really compelling ideas. And I think after seeing this, I know if James Cameron gets to make Avatars 4 and 5, I think I know exactly where he's going with it. And it involves Earth and Awa, but that's just a theory. But I do think this film is a staggering achievement. You know, there's a lot of people that might not. I understand this is not a cool franchise. The technology and everything is cool, but it's very old-fashioned in it really has American values of the family and home and hearth and being that way, and there's a lot more of it. There's some really interesting questions that are posed for the Sully family. Um, I was enchanted by the whole thing. Obviously, it does repeat beats of Avatar: Way of Water, quite a few actually, but it felt to me like both of these movies are part of the same symphony, and it's telling this, larger story. And I loved every minute of watching it. It is, however, I think the most imperfect of all three of the Avatar films, only because there's so much story here, and they keep adding characters and adding people. They keep bringing back people from the past, and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot these people were in this movie. And I'm sure they had a hard time putting this all together. But sometimes I felt that was a little jarring when suddenly in the back half of the film, you're reintroducing these characters that have been part of the franchise since the beginning. And you're like, oh, wait a minute. But there are some moments in this movie it filled me with awe and wonder, which is what Avatar does best. We've seen in the trailers these big airships. Those are a new group of people. Again, I wish that we saw more of them. They're only in the first part of the film, and it was an incredible sequence. But the people of Pandora are more fully developed. They have more. We see more of the tribe. Well, we have different tribes and different people, and I would like to have spent more time with them. But this movie was 4 hours. I still would have loved it. Now, the Mordor Na'vi that I was really looking forward to are really awesome. They're incredible, and their leader is very incredible. I just wished that we spent more time with them. Like, I really wanted them to do. They could have done how Jake Sully in the first movie spends time with Neytiri and learns the Na'vi culture. I kind of wish that another character, which you'll see, got to experience that with them. Just because they were so badass. I mean, the villains in Way of Water and in this are a little mustache twirling. I freely admit that. And the only other thing I really missed was James Horner's score. I love that Avatar theme when it kicks in. I don't think it did enough, especially in emotional moments, which that isn't that much of a criticism. At the screening last night, Miley Cyrus spoke afterwards, and she does the end credit song, and she was kind of funny saying, I asked James Cameron about 10 years ago if I could participate, and he called me like a month ago. So that was pretty funny. He's like, what, you haven't been doing this for 20 years? So she was very funny. She's an incredible speaker. I was very impressed by her.
Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, BetterHelp. Hey guys, we are right now in the middle of the holiday season, and this is always the time of year when traditions take center stage. For me, one of the small traditions I've had for myself since I was a teenager is taking at least one night during the Christmas season to just spend completely by myself, to just reflect on the year that was and how I want to improve myself in the year that's coming. The holidays can be joyful, but they can also be stressful, overwhelming, even lonely. So if you're thinking about starting therapy or getting back into it, BetterHelp is a great way to begin. BetterHelp has fully licensed therapists who work under a strict code of conduct, and they do the matching work for you. The way it works is you fill out a short questionnaire. They use over 12 years of experience to match you with someone who fits your goals. And if it's not the right fit, you can switch anytime from their tailored recommendations. With over 30,000 therapists and more than 5 million people served, the platform's average live session rating is 4.9 out of 5 from more than 1.7 million reviews. So this December, start a brand new tradition by taking care of you. Our listeners get 10% off at betterhelp.com/Campea. That's betterhelp.com/Campea. Let me ask you this, Rob. Having watched this film now, Avatar, the original film, is now, I don't know what, 75 years old? I can't remember how long ago the first one came out. How do the visual effects hold up today? How does it look visually now compared to the way it's looked before? Is it still kind of shock and awe-inspiring? Is it still all that?
It was. It's stunning. Like the level of stuff that happens in this movie it's just jaw-dropping. There was a lot of shots where they were going in and out of the water. So the camera was using the camera lens. There'd be water floating in the middle of the camera lens, and you saw someone's feet down, and then it would go. I mean, I know they did shoot motion capture in the water, but it was like they were adding the camera. They could have just taken that out and not had it happen. But every time it happened, I'm like, this is amazing. It's just because none of it's real. And I think, there's a lot of talk about why isn't this pop culture, why does it not have a footprint in pop culture? Well, as you've said, John, movies are experiential events. And as I was sitting there last night, I kept thinking about your words, and I'm like, there is no better experiential event in a movie theater than the Avatar movies. That's what they are. I was sitting there and I was seeing this in high frame rate. And the thing about a lot of people didn't like high frame rate with The Hobbit because they're like, oh, it looks like a soap opera.
Yeah.
But in the case of Pandora, none of it's real. So we don't have anything to sort of key on to. So the high frame rate really works. And it's this kind of this hyper real. I think in the version I saw, I think there's actually variable frame rates, and I would really like to read the American Cinematographer article on this, but it was just stunning. I mean, it was from the time the 20th Century Fox and Lightstorm logo on. I'm like, oh, this is a high frame rate. Let's go. And then it opens with this scene to reacquaint you with the world, and my jaw was on the floor. And to be honest, even though like Way of Water, the end of it gets pretty long, there's so much going on and so much awe and wonder, and they really add to the mythology of what's going on with Pandora. And as I was sitting there, I have a theory. I think that James Cameron is trying to convey to us that Pandora is the world that we, the Earth, would have evolved into if we didn't fall out of balance. If humanity did not fall out of balance with its natural surroundings. Because clearly, as they extend what we know about how Awa or how the planet itself works, and there's a lot of really interesting Pandoran biology in this. Like there's a scene where a group of people come together to talk about what's about to go down. It was unbelievable. The conversation was, and they do something visually with the water. I was just sitting there going, this is amazing. Like I felt like I was in the presence of awe. The same, it approached, I wouldn't say it does exactly the same stuff, but it approaches that awe that when the sandworm shows up in Dune. I mean, I think that these movies together, obviously people are not going to buy in to these movies the way they buy into Dune. And I'll tell you why. Dune's about people. And the people in this movie, the human beings, feel out of place. And so the main character is like, Jake Sully is awesome, but he's not cool. Like, I want to be Han Solo, but I don't want to be Jake Sully. And I think that has something to do with the thing about I mean, to be honest, I'd love to be a Na'vi. To be honest, I would. But there is a wholesomeness to this that I think prevents it from making people, especially our age, love it.
I got to ask you
love-
this then, because I know we got to move on to some other topics here, because we got to get to the Netflix thing. But let me ask you this. The folks over at 20th Century give you a call, and they say, we want a quote from Robert Meyer Burnett to put on the poster. What's the Robert Meyer Burnett quote for this movie?
I would probably say something to the effect of, in a world where awe and wonder are at a premium, Avatar, Fire and Ash delivers something along those lines. I'd have to think about that. But something to the effect of that Avatar, Fire and Water delivers awe and wonder, the likes you haven't seen. I don't know. I have to think about it. You're putting me on the spot to come up with
But
something
basically,
good.
you liked it.
I did like it. I do, but it's not, I would say this. It is imperfect of all the 3 Avatar movies. I'm going to go with my Rocky 3 quote. But I think there was probably too much movie, and they do some editorial things that I think are a little odd, and I think the structure is a little off. It's not perfect. But as far as an experiential movie event, it's done what the other 2 Avatar movies do. I sat there with my jaw on the floor. I had no idea what was going to happen next. They keep doing things that I thought were really, really interesting. And I give it my highest recommendation. No one is attempting to do what James Cameron is doing. And yes, all the criticisms that people have leveled at the movie are there. It is very repetitive, but I don't care. I was enchanted and awed.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it myself. The question is for you guys, where are your expectation levels like right now for Avatar, Fire and Ash? It looks and sounds like it delivers on that big grand scale. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.